Well, folks, we're nearing the end. This is our last episode before the two-parter finale, and oh boy, I've been saving up a rant for a certain character, but we're not going to get, because even though that this only one-off character who's only appeared in this episode, and as far as my knowledge has never appeared again for the rest of the seasons, has made quite the impact of being probably one of my most hated characters in all of media, rivaling the life heights of Adam Torres from Ruby, and who else I can think at the top of my head? So, who could possibly be so bad that this one-off character can fill me up with so much rage? Considering that this is a pony who is not even a villain. But let's see if we can ignore that character. But anyways, let's look into the actual episode itself, which is the main attraction. So this episode starts out with the main six building a stage for a special pony because of Pinkie Pie's connection.
Well, it turns out doing up a concert is the same as setting up a rodeo. And thanks to Pinkie's connection organizing the Pony Palooza Rock concert, we've got quite a lineup for the Helping Ghost Music Festival.
Now, as far as those connections go, from what I've seen in some other reviews, apparently the connections is basically from one of the books that I actually never read. But I did see them at BronyCon, but I never actually thought of buying them because I was only interested in the Elements of Harmony Volumes 1 and 2, and I'm sure that by the end of Season 9, there will be a Volume 3, and the Journal of the Two Sisters, which were honestly the only books I kind of really cared about, to be honest. But basically, even without having to read the books, it actually is kind of interesting to know that Pinkie Pie has those kind of connections. And for those who actually have read the book, hooray for continuity! I love that.
What is it, Pinkie? I have the most amazing news ever, and it's totally gonna break your brain! Well, spill it, Pinkie. It wasn't...
So basically, after God knows how many connections, Pinkie Pie has invited the famous singer Countess Coloratura, and Applejack doesn't seem to know who she is, much to everybody's shock and dismay.
Have you not heard of her? Don't know. So I did know a gal named Coloratura when I was just a Philly. Wouldn't it just be the funniest thing if that Coloratura and this Coloratura were the same Coloratura? Do you mean to tell me that you actually know Countess Coloratura?
And it turns out she actually does, because apparently Applejack and Countess Coloratura actually used to go to the same camp together and were really good friends.
Clear voice I've ever heard.
And as you can probably tell, Countess Coloratura is actually a really good singer. I think as far as I can tell, they also got a pretty good singer who is also a fan of the show to do the voice of Countess Coloratura.
Demanded diva? Just you wait, Pinkie. Once Rah-Rah gets here, you'll see she's just a plain old pony like you or me.
Oh yeah, and Applejack also calls her Rah-Rah. And thus, another shipping filled with builds, even though, as far as I can tell, she's only appeared much like the character that shall not be named until we see him. She's only appeared in this one episode and has never been referenced again.
Really?
And thus, the House of Gaga has arrived. Yeah, you probably already tell right now that this is a very Lady Gaga-ish style.
I gave you the nickname Rah-Rah. AJ? Yeah. Howdy, Rah-Rah.
I'm gonna get to you in a few seconds. Yes, so basically her manager whispers something to her, and... which I'm guessing is the equivalent of basically giving you a stamp. It kind of makes you wonder how exactly that will work. I mean, how would everybody know they would keep the stamp if you take a shower and it just like washes off?
From out of Coloratura. Look! She thinks you're very special. Lucy.
Says that to everybody, apparently.
Yes.
Oh boy. And thus we get our manager, Spangala. And as you can probably tell from the stuff I said, not even like, 5 minutes into this review, you can probably tell from my voice that I hate this guy with the fiery passion of 1,000 suns.
Now that's how you make an entrance. Boom! Absolutely stunning! Though it was muddied a bit with your interaction with that dusty farm pony.
Wow, I hate you already. And it's all downhill from there. Yeah, no, that sensitive comment in that high society voice of his, it's gonna get much, much worse. This character is so bad that I actually had to form a video on Instagram because I was doing the My Little Pony 30-day challenge, and I basically put together a clip of lists combining with what this jackass has said with a bunch of other clips I have on my laptop. Which, by the way, is not going to go away because I'm going to be playing those clips to express how I genuinely feel about this character.
Do you actually know her? Oh, yeah. That's my childhood Billy friend, AJ. She was the one that started calling me Rara. Oh, yeah. How cute and common.
Oh, man. Trust me, it's going to get worse from here. Here. And even though it's a mini-minister, I am pretty much going to do everything I can not to try to blow up so that way the other two people living on my floor won't hear me screaming like I'm some kind of lunatic. But, yeah, as you can probably tell, this guy is pretty much a shitty manager who is basically going to be an asshole to everybody. So, basically, it's like what happened in Camelot Boutique, except he actually doesn't own up to what he does.
Of course, I was the one that started calling you Countess. Just look at how you moved up in the factory at next end. Why, you've gotten everything you've ever wanted.
Yeah, as you can probably tell, we're not even 10 minutes in, and the likability chart of this guy has completely sunk to the bottom of the ocean. Probably to where the Titanic is.
Speaking of which, where is the pony Pinkie Pie? Mr. Manager, sir? Do you have the watering cord at the Rainbow Falls that I requested for Countess Coloratura? I have 20 glass containers full right here. Didn't I tell you to provide straws in all of Countess Coloratura's beverages? I don't think so. But lucky for you, I have the biggest straw collection in Equestria. I call this straw Fernando. Let us confirm that you acquired the rest of the items that Countess Coloratura requested before she performs her run-through, shall we?
Yeah, which is basically the equivalent of making Pinkie Pie do slave labor. It's going to get worse later on, but I am just going to give you the heads up because there is a lot to not like about this guy.
Floral arrangements from the Royal Camelot Garden. Chocolate eclairs made by Gustave Legrand.
And kind of makes you wonder what exactly happened to Gustave since season 2.
Collection of crystals from the Crystal Empire. Freshly picked cherries from Cherry Jubilee Farm, separated red from yellow. Well, by some miracle, your requests have been reasonably met. So let us move on.
Was it her request or your request, you jackass?
To rehearsal.
It's not really her, it's her crappy-ass manager.
Hank is right, Rarely. The Rara Island didn't hide behind a veil giving out fake...
It's the manager. Do I really have to spell it out for you guys? Alright, so I'm going to have to fast forward through the song because basically I'm still in the process of fighting my copyright problems with Crusaders of the Lost Mark. But basically the first song is basically the equivalent of honestly modern day pop songs where it's basically auto-tuning, repeating lyrics, EDM stuff that I'm basically not into. But the good news is, at least it's not modern rap where it's pretty much the equivalent of, I'm a dumb guy who gets laid a lot, let me sing about it. At least it's not that.
Oh, my shining star! Thanks to that sparkling costume, dazzling choreography, and brilliant vocal effects that I designed, your performance was spectacular, Countess Coloradora.
Oh, thank you, Vanilla.
That's basically with all his basking in all your glory, you little bitch.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but that fella isn't actually complimenting wrong. He's complimenting all the bells and whistles he's piled on to make her Countess Coloradora.
I agree.
You don't understand, Applejack. Creating all those elements is a lot of work, and Countess Coloradora's performance wouldn't exist without it.
I think it's the equivalent of every modern day artist. Because the thing that I've learned from watching Caught in the Shadows, most of these people are most people that are in the music industry are horrible people. I wouldn't have to begin, especially with Chris Brown. And I'm bringing this up even though the whole beating Rihanna incident has happened 10 years since now, but getting off sidetrack from it, in ethics class, I had into a brief argument with someone in my class who basically defended Chris Brown, saying that basically Rihanna was at fault for this, which is pretty much the equivalent of all the dumber members of Team Breezy who actively denied he did anything wrong. Yes, the same guy who, as I've heard from the report, bit her in the ear and choked her. But yes, getting to my point here, even with managers tend to use their position to try to abuse their powers. There's worse. And in terms of artists, most of them are horrible people. Well,
Yes, me. That wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. Oh, if we're all done here, I'd love to go back to my trailer and rest, Vanilla. Actually, right now you're scheduled for your meet and greet with the school.
I can totally get you out of meeting with the school ponies, Countess.
which is basically cue for, I actually don't want to be with these little brats. Because spoilers, he says that later in the episode. Okay, yeah, I know that I'm nitpicking about this episode, but I'm just going to get through the positive before I basically make myself look like a lunatic. Because it's just nitpicking. Because basically what I do like about this episode is that for once we actually see Applejack see that she actually knew somebody who was actually considered to be famous. And we honestly see that, and despite the first song being rather kind of like modern pop, it actually can be catchy if you're actually allowed to listen to it. And we actually see that Countess actually stands up basically saying that she wants to see the kids.
Meeting with the school ponies. The school ponies will be so happy to hear that, Rara. Ponyville school ponies.
And as we can also see, we see that Diamond Tiara learned her lesson. Speaking of Crusaders from the Lost Mark, we see that Diamond Tiara has learned her lesson is actually kind of being with the crowd, actually being nice to every pony. So at least it's good to know she learned her lesson.
Part of the Helping Coast Music Festival, I'm holding a contest where some of you will get a chance to sing with me on stage at the concert tomorrow. Sound fun? Yeah! Now who wants more hootsies?
Alright, it's that time. Prepare yourselves for an incoming rant. Because as Applejack is happy to see this, she's overhearing basically Pinkie Pie being forced to do slave labor by take a wild guess who.
That's more like a Rara. Ouch. But I got everything you requested.
That was for Countess Coloradora. This is for me. And what I want is plenty of notes.
Oh, well, we have lots of cheap deals right here at Pumpkindale.
I would not feed those to a chicken.
Yep. Basically, we see that Sven Gallup's true nature behind the scenes is that he's a manipulative douchebag. And as I said, basically forced Pinkie Pie into the equivalent of slave labor. Remember what I said about those clips? Because here's clip number 1. Because Mondo can sum up the words I can say about this asshole.
Son of a bitch.
My thoughts exactly.
I want top of the line, absolute oats. Next, it appears that we are surrounded by apple trees.
Well, what do you expect? It's an apple farm.
Bring me 500 pre-peeled, pre-poured apples, and I want those things in 24 hours.
But that's impossible.
Do you want me to pull Countess Colrentura from your little podunk charity show? I will.
On whose authority, asshole? So, Fuyuhiko?
What the fuck did you say, bitch?
So yeah. It's not gonna get old anytime soon because I hate this bastard with the 1,000 suns.
Applejack, the yellow just made all these things in acid.
I heard, thank you. But don't you fret. I'll talk to Rara and fix things right up.
Show of hands, how much you want to bet she's not gonna know about it? Oh yeah, and Apple Bloom does discover that her sister knew Rara, so I like the reactions that they do make.
All right now. You best get along, little pony. Hey, Rara. You mind if I talk to you about your manager? Sure. What about him? What?
Can you say that he's a complete and total jackass?
Well, while you were meeting with the school
So, as Applejack tries to explain it, Countess doesn't bat an eye.
with my image, I'm afraid Ben Gallup doesn't give a pickle pippin about your charity work. That's not true. Ben Gallup has always supported me in all my interests. You're just saying those things because you're jealous.
Yeah, this is also another pet peeve of mine when people are so blind to their delusions of, oh, they're like family. Let's see. Inoue-san Toriche from Persona 4 is a better manager than this guy. Hi. Because he doesn't care. And basically the closing saying, I don't know what you're talking about.
Jealous of what? A pony who hides behind a veil so thick she can't see what some pony's doing at her? No, I'm not jealous of that, Rara. I am not Rara. I am Countess Colrentura. And while we may have been friends when we were young, we have clearly gone in different directions.
Yeah, I understand it's a kid show, but come on! If the audience can see how much of a jackass he is, why are you so inclined to defending him? Oh boy. So because Applejack is basically upset by this, she tries to talk to her again, but like an idiot, she doesn't believe him.
Do exactly what I said. We'll see if that Sven Gallup truly has her best interest at heart. Sven Gallup? Sven Gallup? Where are you, Sven Gallup?
Here I am. Did you need something?
Yes, I was considering maybe canceling the contest at the school pony.
Countess, this is wonderful. I've been waiting forever for you to cancel that pointless school pony contest.
You have?
You do it at every charity event, and it does absolutely nothing to promote the Countess Colrentura image that I built.
Yeah, because I'm sure artists and actors and actresses wouldn't mind wanting to go to a charity to support their friends. DBZ abridged Frieza.
I'm going to drown you. I'm going to drown you like a sack of dumb puppies.
Then again, puppies are more adorable than this guy.
Consider it canceled. Hey, get high! We are making some adjustments to the show. Follow me.
So the plan goes along, and because, oh yeah, I have a... Sven Gallup is into more demand.
And I don't have to oversee a rehearsal for those brats.
Makoto!
I've been listening to you go on and on. Shut your damn mouth, you money-grubbing asshole!
Have time for the work. You know the drill. Deliver, or the diva shit is your stupid charity.
Again, on whose authority, asshole?
You have to be wrong! Everything you just said is wrong! You made it all up!
Oh. I hate you. I hate you so friggin' much right now.
Okay, Countess Coloratura. Oh, let it go.
Oh, and then because remember, oh yeah, Applejack's also a princess friends with an alicorn who's superior at magic. So, because now, the best part of the episode, or the only good thing, one of the few things about this episode, anyways, basically, the jackass manager is exposed for being the conniving douchebag that he is.
Know the drill. Deliver, or the demon bitches here didn't care.
So that's how you've been managing things?
Yeah, so, what's the problem?
The problem is you've been using my name to intimidate ponies to get what you want.
But I work incredibly hard for you. I deserve everything I get.
No you don't. Well, at most, you basically treat the people to start you're managing like their family at least. Please. You are so much in denial, I swear to God. This character is so hateable, it gets to the point where I swear to God he is lining up to be a villain in Persona 5. And given how shitty the adult characters and bosses are in Persona 5, that's saying a lot.
But not because you scare ponies into thinking I won't perform for their charities otherwise. I would never do that to my fans, which is why you should have known that I would never cancel the school ponies contest.
All this charity and school pony contest nonsense is just remnants of that boring little rah-rah I met back in Manhattan.
Oh yeah?
I'm sick of hearing you say you don't know! God, why are you so dumb?
You clearly don't understand the real me.
That's a joke. I made you so pony. What could you even do without me? Good luck, Countess Coloratura. Good luck.
Stop looking down on me with that stupid smile on your face!
And you know what the worst part about all this? The most damning part about this? He gets away with it. Nobody scolds him. Nobody tells him off. Nobody does anything to him. He just basically walks off and we never see him again. That is amazing that a character on the show that could be this unlikable could just get away with all this and nobody tells him off like he should. Alright. So, up yours, you freaking prick. If only somebody could just get an execution, just punch him square across the face, that would be so freaking good.
Oh, Rara, I'm so sorry. Are you going to be okay for the concert tonight?
Of course she is. Because even though she does freak out, basically Applejack is there for encouragement.
You need to count the phone with your and acted like your friends when you enjoy the perks that came with being a star. But the real perk of friendship is getting to see your friends being true to themselves. And Rara, when you're simply yourself, you're the brightest star I've ever seen shine.
And thus we get to Countess's concert, and unfortunately, this is as sad as it is, I have to fast forward through this, because as I said, because of copyright. And singing The Magic Inside of You, which is without a doubt the best song of the entire show. Because it's pretty much the equivalent of basically one artist just coming up with music entirely by themselves, and just basically just being who they are. And it's a really good song to go out on. And it's also pretty much a sad note to go on that the writer of this episode, Amy Keating-Rogers, this was actually the last episode she actually wrote for the show. And this was honestly a high note to go out on, for both The Magic Inside of You and the episode itself. So, it's really kind of a bittersweet way to go out on. And you can honestly tell if you actually sit back and listen to the song that there was a lot of heart put into this. Kind of like something the music industry should do nowadays.
When I arrived at the Helping Hooks Music Festival, I had forgotten who I really was. But then an old friend reminded me what real friendship is about, and she told me that if I was true to myself, I couldn't go wrong. So I have a very special surprise for her. Apple Bloom, sweetie
thus, they sing the camp song from the beginning, which again, copyright, blah, 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 blah. And they bring Applejack on stage. And Applejack used to play a triangle, and that's the end of the episode. And thus, that was the main attraction. And many people seem to like this episode, and I do too. I mean, there's honestly not a lot to say that's wrong with the episode. It basically honestly goes to show that basically somebody can get swept up with fame, and when reuniting with an old friend, they kind of change a lot of their ways because of something that was done to them by a dickish manager. Which leads to one of the negatives of this episode is that Sven Gallup is a manipulative douchebag. If you thought that Wind Rider from Rarity Investigates was a total jackass, Sven Gallup puts Wind Rider and any other potentially hateable character on the show to shame. As I said, he's only appeared in one episode and has not suffered any repercussions of this. He is so connivingly evil, and I hate him so much. He's even worse than the villains of the respective seasons that we're supposed to hate. But that being said, if you can endure the insufferability of the character like I can do, it's relatively a good episode that has, honestly, some good songs, a really good moral to show that someone has to remind you that as long as you remember who you truly are, you can be whatever you want. Even though that's the type of moral that's been done to death so many times, I'm on the dead horse, you can see the Nike symbol labeled on it. But I can say that it is an enjoyable episode, and basically giving more development of Applejack's character, as well as helping to develop in the Rah-Rahs. So overall, it's a good episode, even if it has quite possibly one of the most hateable characters in the entire show. And this is coming from the guy who dislikes Adam Torres, Jasper Bat Jr., and Eric Cartman. So yeah, so overall, the main attraction is a B+. I would have given a minus if for the fact that Sven Gallup's antagonistic behavior didn't take up about 10 minutes or so, and we had to watch Pinkie Pie suffer. This is where I would normally end things, but because Sven Gallup, I felt like got off scot-free and has never come back. And because I think that Sven Gallup is so conniving, I've actually prepared something inspired by Persona 5, which I'm hoping the Phantom Thieves can get on. So before we end this, I have Sven Gallup, if you're watching this, I have a special calling card for you. Dear Sven Gallup, whatever the hell your last name is, you have committed the great sin of vanity. As you only think about yourself, you use your position as a manager to manipulate Countess Coloratura to do whatever you want, overwork, force clients to treat you like you're the king, and complain about children only using your positions to get whatever you want and not about what the artist wants. Thus, we have decided to travel to Equestria and steal your heart and make you confess your crimes with your own mouth. We will take your distorted desires without fail from the Phantom Thieves. So Phantom Thieves, if you're watching that, get on it and change this douchebag's heart. And with that, we have finally got to the season finale. Next time, we will be looking at the first part of the Cutie Remark. I will see you guys next time, and Sven Gallup, I hope you go to hell. See ya.